Yo, what's going on, people, and welcome back to Mandem Football. It's your boy here, Demeachnyc, and please follow me, like, comment, subscribe on the video. Follow me on Instagram at Demeachnyc, and absolutely follow me on Twitter as well. So check the description down below, and you'll see me on my socials. And in today's video, well, North London is red once again. Arsenal 2, Tottenham Hotspur 1, and I said before that this is my favorite game to watch in the Premier League over the past few years. I don't know how long it's been, but it definitely has proven once again that it is surely the best derby in the Premier League. And it's always feisty. It's always a good matchup. Form goes out the window. Great players all over the pitch. And it just gets, to me, it seems as though the North London Derby gets more personal year after year after year, and it was a personal one today. Um, Going for both teams, first and foremost, I have to give big credit to Arsenal hosting Tottenham Hotspur at the Emirates. They had an excellent game today. Um, Great in defense, great in attack, great in the midfield. It was just a superb game for Arsenal. A few standout performances for Arsenal players, I must say. Very impressed by Miles Lewis Skelly. He was absolutely superb, I must say. He put out a really good performance in defense. He locked up several players down that right hand side, coming down his side. Dejan Kulusevski did not have an answer for him. Jet Spence did not have an answer for him. I thought Timber on the other side did well, but I thought Miles Lewis Skelly was just excellent. He was great with the ball at his feet. He was great at reacting to any passes coming through his way. There was just nothing that anybody can do down that right-hand side. So big up to him. Big up to Gabriel. Again, Arsenal proving that they are set piece FC. Peak Tony Pulis football once at it again, scoring from a set piece. And Gabriel didn't get his goal. It actually counted as a Dominic Solanke own goal. But I must say that Gabriel, once again, was the reason why that goal even went into the back of the net. And I was surprised watching the game as to how well Arsenal played. I thought Spurs would come out with a little bit more cutting edge. And as much as Arsenal dominated the game, they actually went 1-0 down. Corner came in through, and the ball is in the air for I don't know how long, and Heung-min Son comes out of nowhere and absolutely puts it into the back of the net. I think it hit a deflection off of Saliba, but that is what you're going to see in football. Who doesn't see that? And it's 1-0 to Spurs, just like that. And that is exactly what Spurs are capable of. They'll score goals from anywhere. It doesn't matter how. It doesn't matter when. It doesn't matter if they're playing well or not. They have the capacity to score goals from wherever they want to. So I think it's very important to know that that goal to me was not surprising whatsoever, because that's just the capabilities that Spurs have. And for Arsenal, well, they didn't drop their heads. They kept going. They knew that, the game was still in their hands. The stadium, the fans were up for it, and it was 1-1, just like that. And then 4 minutes later, I'm pretty sure it was not too long after, definitely, maybe within 10 minutes, it's 2-1 Arsenal. Leandro Trossard with a great pass made by Martin Odegaard on the counterattack, which Arsenal seemed to struggle at. And in transition, they just score. Leandro Trossard with his weak foot, 2-1 to the Arsenal. So the second half came around, and I thought the second half was well by both teams. I think there was a few things that Spurs did really well with. I thought Spurs came in with more intensity, especially when James Maddison came in. I thought he probably should have started the game, but I can see why he wasn't starting. I thought James Maddison came in, brought some intensity. I thought uh, who came in? Oh, I thought Bergval. Guys, I haven't mentioned Bergval that much lately, but Bergval I think is an excellent player. I think Bergval is superb. I remember when I first heard of him when he came into Spurs over the summer, and I checked a little bit of his highlights, and I saw the type of player that he was, and he's a great player. He's an absolutely talented player, and I really like to see him play for Ange Postecoglou. I think it's a little unfortunate that he has to be playing around guys that don't step up and play at his sort of level, but he is definitely an excellent player, and I expect to see a lot of things from him later in the season. But him and Miles Lewis Skelly going into it a little bit during the corner was just what makes this derby great. It got chippy, it got spicy, it got interesting between the two of them because we already know that they're both young players and they just know how much this game means to both teams. And that just goes to show you how much of a game it really meant to both Arsenal and Spurs overall. And Arsenal getting the victory, well, now they're 4 points behind Liverpool. Not too long ago, they would have been 7 points, 8 points behind Liverpool. Now they're only 4 points behind them. They do have a game in hand against Everton, but that is absolutely not a guaranteed victory for Liverpool because they got to play to Goodison Park, and that'll be their last ever game at Goodison Park. So I know Everton's not going to let that slide. So that's not a guaranteed victory. However, going back to the Arsenal versus Spurs game, I thought it was just an excellent game. It was really end to end. I thought Arsenal could have scored at least 5 goals, really and truly. I thought Sterling played very well when he was in the game in the first half. He showed a lot of intensity, a lot of pace, a lot of trickery that's been missing by Arsenal because of Saka's absence. And I really thought that Arsenal, if they just have a striker, out-and-out striker, they would have scored at least 3, 4 goals today. They had so many chances to put away, and they just need to keep their heads focused and know that, listen, it's going to come, and more is going to come with it. And they were just unlucky. Maybe they were unlucky. Maybe they should have done a little bit better. I think they should have done a bit better, especially chances where the ball is literally in the box and no one's really getting behind it. And that's due to the negligence of the keeper by Kingsley, the goalkeeper for Spurs today. He looked like he looked like a deer in the headlights whenever he had the ball in his box. I get it. When you got Kai Havertz running at you, Martin Odegaard running at you, Gabriel Martinelli or Trossard running at you, and you're just a keeper that doesn't play week in, week out like that and isn't really, up to par with distribution, I can totally understand why you would be shitless with distribution in the build-up. I mean, the fans were getting at him. The Arsenal fans were definitely getting into his head a little bit. And I thought Arsenal did really well in the press. They did really well in the press, and they could have scored a few goals just by the ball being lost in the penalty box, really and truly. I've seen that so many times against Arsenal and against Spurs and even for them in their favor, and they take advantage of that, and the ball goes right into the net. And that's just because of the press. So you have to really understand just how well an oiled machine Arsenal really are, and the fact that things just don't seem to always go their way, even with how well they played in the game. So I think many of these factors that people don't tend to really pay attention to is what makes fans and other people alike want to think that, Arsenal are not playing well, or Mikel Arteta needs to go, or they need to get this player and that player. So I think it was just a great victory by Arsenal. It was a great game. A few players, though, Miles Lewis Skelly, I thought was great. Gabriel, I thought was excellent. And, I just look at this Arsenal team and I'm just thinking to myself, they're just too elite compared to Tottenham Hotspur. I don't think the game against Manchester United is a true reflection of how good they are, because today was the game that really showed how great they are and what they're capable of. And the scoreline honestly doesn't even reflect on how dominant Arsenal were in the first and second half. So it just goes to show you that maybe they're missing just one or two pieces to their team. And if they get those pieces, then we'll be looking at a much dangerous, much better team, and a team that's more ruthless in that attacking half, because that's what most of the fans are really talking about. And that's what is very obvious as to what's going on with Arsenal when they just tend to lack creativity and lack goals being scored. But for Spurs, it's not surprising to me. There's levels to this between Arsenal and Spurs. Obviously, there's a discrepancy between both teams. I think for Tottenham's sake, there really just isn't a sense of okay, let's slow the game down, let's control the game, because there's just not that player profile on their their team to really be able to do that. Can you imagine if Spurs had like a Jorginho, if they had the likes of a Jorginho, the likes of maybe a Bruno G, the likes of Bentancur's injured, who I really do rate, but he's injured right now. Imagine if they had players like that, Bruno G, Jorginho, Bernardo Silva, Martin Odegaard, who else? There's many players that are in the Premier League that obviously dictate that sort of rhythm and momentum and tempo. They want to play quick, then they're going to play quick. But if they have to play slow and calm and relax, then they'll do that. But Spurs don't have the player to actually say, let's calm this down, let's relax, because they just lack that player profile. And that's something that we're going to see further on into the season. We've already seen it this season. It's costing them. It's costing them gains. It's costing them losses. And that's why they find themselves in the second half of the table, right? The best teams that I see, like Manchester City and Liverpool and Arsenal in particular, they know how to dictate the games. They know how to really, trouble the other team through having the ball with their feet and not being able to lose the ball so easily. If they want to play quick, then they'll play quick. But if they want to play slow, they'll be able to play slow. So having a team that's able to do both, whether that be in the build-up or in transition or just working the ball around the pitch, right? If you're a team that can't do either or, if you even want to, there's going to be a problem. And I see that with Spurs so much. So for me, Spurs have a lot to do. I don't think Ange should go, but questions need to be made in terms of the players that need to come in and the players that need to go for Spurs, because there's a lot of players that need to go. But for Arsenal's sake now, they're 4 points behind Liverpool. The season is far from over in terms of who's going to win the Prem. Liverpool are still up there, but that draw to Nottingham Forest is definitely a major blow in terms of the discrepancy and the gap between Arsenal and Liverpool. It's getting closer, and Forest are definitely in the race too. Forest are definitely there. So this is going to be very interesting between Liverpool, Arsenal, and possibly Forest, and it's just going to be exciting. So let's see what happens further on into the season. This was an excellent game. 2-1 to Arsenal. North London is red. They have bragging rights this time, and that's pretty much what it is. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'll see y'all next week, and have a good night.